Hello. In today's session, I'm going to be helping you to decide how to find the right mindfulness teacher training program for you. So, my name's Shamash. I'm author of the book Mindfulness for Dummies, and I run a mindfulness teacher training program myself. But I want to share with you some of the ways to help you to decide which is the right one for you and consider 6 different questions to help you to actually decide. So, the first question you need to think about is, why are you doing the training in the first place? Now, I would say that I prefer to train people who have both practiced mindfulness and have also changed their life in some way. So, if you're just doing a mindfulness teacher training because it just seems to be like the fashionable thing to do, or you just want to add that in, and it seems to be quite a good idea, I don't think that's a good enough reason to do the mindfulness teacher training. You need to have done the practice, done some sort of course, and it doesn't have to be for a long time, in my opinion. With other training programs, you need to have done a long period of time. But for me, it's not about the length of time that you've been doing the practice, but more about the quality of the transformation you've experienced through doing a meditation or mindfulness practice. If it's touched you and moved you in some way, that's a great reason to do a mindfulness teacher training. Why? Because the best way to develop something is to actually teach it, in my opinion. When I was a school teacher, I used to be a science teacher, and I used to teach physics, chemistry, and biology. Now, I was quite well trained in physics and chemistry, but biology, not so much. But the students said that my biology lessons were their favorite lessons. Why? Because I was going through the learning process as I was teaching it as well. And it's a bit of a thing that the other school teachers told me as well. They found that they were better teachers in the subjects that they were kind of new to at the beginning, because if they were on the learning journey together with the children. So if you want to really, and then I started to get really passionate about biology too, and understand it more deeply, and I used to love it more, and I enjoyed teaching it as well as the physicses and the chemistries. So if you found mindfulness transformational for yourself personally, then I'd recommend that you consider training to be a mindfulness teacher, just to learn about mindfulness more deeply. And as you go through the process of trying to share it with another person, whether it's a friend or a family member or a community or even in your workplace, the process of trying to explain what mindfulness is a great way for you to learn about it more. And your depth of understanding becomes greater too. Relatively recently, I've started to train people in ACT, acceptance and commitment training. It's a new thing. And I studied it a lot, but it's only once I started teaching it and sharing it and getting the different challenging questions and going through the process of answering it that my depth of understanding became much more significant, and I feel I understand it a lot better. So I think teaching is one of the best ways of learning. So consider that. It's a very active form of learning. That's the first question. So why are you doing the training? And hopefully you've had some sort of transformative experience in mindfulness. That's a good reason to do a mindfulness teacher training. Second is to consider if it's online or offline. So we were one of the first organizations to offer only online mindfulness teacher training. And obviously nowadays, more people, I guess, would be offering it as a new thing, because of that's the only option for them. But whether we were in this challenging time or not, it's a good thing to reflect on. I did my original training offline. It was in person. That was the only option available at that time. And there was, having been teaching it online now for many years, over 7 years, I realized things that I missed out on. First of all, there's no recordings of the trainings that I'd done. So I did training with everyone from John Kabat-Zinn to, professors and doctors in the UK as well. But all that training is lost because of it wasn't recorded. So I only got a few sheets and a few notes from that. So with online training, often it's recorded, so you can refer back to it. And we offer it for long-term access, so you can come back to it again and again. Second thing is the community aspect. And I'll talk more about that in a second, but there was no sense of building an online community. So you just met the people once a month, and then once they were gone, and we all pretty much lost contact. I don't know if some people managed to stay in touch with each other, but I certainly haven't. And it's a shame, because they're wonderful people, but there was no building of community that went along with it. It was just focusing on the information alone. And so online has some huge benefits. The other thing is that offline is nice, it's brilliant because if it's nice to meet people in person if you can. But remember that online can actually offer that as well. So you could have a community and a training online, and then they may have offline offerings. So we want to once all this is over, to meet in person, and it may be just once a year or a couple of times a year, but we meet online all the time because we're constantly building community in our Facebook group or other groups, so we can stay connected with each other. And arguably you can get more closer with people through an online community than offline because it's so easy to stay in touch with them. But the combination is wonderful. Next question to consider is, does the training offer ongoing community? And so this is something that we do, which is after people have trained to do our program, you get into a group where you've got a free access to the community for life. We've had the community growing for 7 years, and we've got some wonderful friendships that are built up in there. I think that's so important. So when you're looking at any kind of training, whether it's mindfulness teacher training or others, find out what's going to happen at the end of the training. Is it just that information you want and then that's it? Or do you want some sort of ongoing support? So look into that. Fourthly, consider, does the training offer a flexible curriculum? So when I did my mindfulness teacher training, I was trained to teach a very fixed 8-week course where you couldn't really change anything at all. If you changed it, you wouldn't be able to call it whatever name that they gave this program. And so it was all right at the beginning because it was a well-tested program. It'd been done thousands of times before, so it was nice. It was scientifically validated. But after time, I realized, first of all, I was just repeating the same thing again and again. Secondly, I couldn't apply my creativity. I couldn't bring my personality so much into it. And so there was something missing about it. And then when I looked at more recent research, I found that it's not about 8 weeks or 6 weeks or 3 weeks or 10 weeks. It's or the specific curriculum each week. It's about the actual practice of the mindfulness itself. The process of mindfulness itself is what's the transformative bit. Cultivating present moment awareness, cultivating compassion and kindness, tuning into what we call the transcendent self. That's the transformative bit. And so you want to try and find a training where they offer that, they allow that. And that's what we do. I'm very much into flexibility. It's one of my core values. So if you like flexibility and do that, if you like just fixed and you just want to do the same thing again and again, then there's probably programs that you can find that offer that too. So find what's right for you. Next one, is it a small and friendly organization, or is it big and kind of leaning towards being impersonal? So there's different sized organizations. I did mine with quite a large one, and the problem was that there's that impersonal element too. As soon as we'd finished the training, they were thinking about the next group that they were going to train, and so didn't really get to know the trainers at all. We're much smaller. We focus on being a small kind of intimate group each time and getting to know each and every person. So find out what's right for you. Do you like the more impersonal element and just being part of a large organization for a short time? Do you like the idea of building community in a smaller organization? So see what the size of the organization is, and if you know who your actual trainer will be, and if you can get to know them and be friends with them and connect with them on an ongoing basis. And finally, what kind of approach do they take? Is the organization cultivating not just mindfulness in you, but also trying to integrate kindness and compassion elements and self-compassion? And also what I find and I'm passionate about, which is about the creativity, lightheartedness, fun and playful element. So having a little bit of a laugh as well, not taking themselves or others too seriously. Is that element there, or is it very much, we look at the research, this is what mindfulness is and this is what you do, and we don't deviate from that? So there's some six kind of questions for you to consider when you're thinking about a training program that's right for you. You maybe have some other questions or other things that you want to consider, but on my reflection, this is what really makes the difference. People often focus too much on what kind of certification you have and accreditation you have. But I did so many trainings, not one person in the many years that I've been running these trainings actually asked for my certificate, amazingly. And that was a thing that costed me tens of thousands of pounds to get. So people worry about that, I find, way too much, and don't think about the ongoing support that they'll get and the confidence building that they'll get and the community that will get, which is what really makes the difference, not the piece of paper that you may or may not get at the end. So think about all those things when you're considering the program. If you want to find out more about our one, I'm doing a presentation on Thursday afternoon live, and you're welcome to come along and ask any questions that you have, and I can present it in a bit more detail, and you can come along for free for that presentation. Yeah, so welcome to you. So my name's Shamash, and I'm very happy to connect with you, and let me know if you'd like to find out more. Thanks a lot for watching this, and I will see you tomorrow morning for something new to learn about mindfulness. Bye for now.